Hi, C++ programmers. I'm going to give you some Scratch demos here. I have not fired up C Line for a while, so I hope that it still works. It doesn't ask me to open my wallet. Wow. All right. So it looks like I don't know what version of C Line I have, but it is still working, so that's good. Anyway, when you guys create your first projects, first thing is to make a place for your code. So I am just going to use File Explorer, and I already have a folder named C++. So here I will just create a folder called Video Demos. Hardest part about this class is coming up with cute names, or names that aren't misspelled. Video Demos. All right, there we go. So I am in C Line here. First time you use C Line, it's not going to look like this. There'll be other prompts there. But what you want to do is create a new project. So let's do that. New project. And the location is going to be in that directory that I just created, right? So 2025, C++, video demos. All right, good. I'm kind of fond of using C++ 17. You guys can use whatever you want, but I think my demos will be with CIT 17. So create new window. Now I already have C Line is just an IDE, integrated development environment. You have to have a C++ compiler associated with this. So when you initially do this, run a project in C Line, it may ask you where your compiler is, or I think it will have some that you can automatically download. So first thing I do, my Hello World program is just about done for me, right? The only thing I would recommend is let's just make this a proper C++ file. And remind me who I am and when I wrote it. Nice description. Demo for CIT 66. Thanks so much, everyone, for getting your intros done. And now I don't have to drop anyone. All right, so let's go over this stuff. Comments in C are /s. You can also have multiple line comments that look like this. It's a / and a star, and yeah, again, my IDE did most of the work for me. So around computers, this asterisk is called a star. Comments, they are ignored by the compiler, but comments are very to you and your programming mates. All right, so that's how you do comments in C++. This hash include, and then less than sign and greater than sign, IO stream. This is how you include libraries, or how you access libraries that you're going to need something in C++. So I call it pound include, you call it hash include, but pound include IO stream. Also, for an academic class, you should not do this in production, but I am going to say using n. Now, notice I try to minimize my typing using namespace std. Like I say, it's most efficient if you preface the keywords that require std. This colon is called the scope resolution operator. More about all these names as we go on through the semester, but this allows me to make things a little more simple. All right. So this program, int is short for integer. An int is a whole number. That's what it is. Int is called a primitive data type. So all these words that I'm using, it makes it sound like a foreign language. You know, I get that. So, you know, when you hear int 100 times around C++, it'll make sense to you. When you hear Bajausta the first time, you have no idea what it means. But when you hear, you know, those words in whatever foreign language you're learning at the time, they'll make sense. You have to practice them. It's not like you're going to just look at a program or YouTube videos. YouTube videos are great to watch. Boy, there's a lot of instruction out there. And this is a video also, but if you don't do any coding, if you just watch me code and listen to my funny explanations about, you know, code, I mean, I suppose you would get one thing, but your fingers have got to touch the keyboard, and you just have got to commit to getting your programs, you know, created and run. But just quickly to squeeze in some instruction here. And this is the function main. There can only be one function named main. That is a special name. It tells the calling program, which is going to be your operating system in this case, where to begin. So, you know, I can't have another function named. I wouldn't even get past the compiler, right? So let's say I said void main. These open and closing French braces. See, want me to require something. Int main. See, I can't even get past the compiler. It gives me an error. Remove declaration of function main. Remove previous declaration of function main. All right, so CLion is preventing me from having to write a program that won't run. It can only be one function named main. I could have another function, right, called int. Let's say this returns an int. Some two ints, and accept an int. And I'll return 1 plus 2. Okay, I just created a function here called sum2ints. So inside my main, actually this is C++, so this function has got to be declared before I use it, before I reference it. There we go. So this is just a function. I can call this. I really should not be doing all of this coding without running my code and making sure that something that works. All right, so what's going on? I need a statement terminator there. That's fine. Okay. Anyway, so for the point of this, I can call my function. Let's see, it's going to return an int. So how about if I just see out that? SU, there it comes up. Here's the biggest tip. Minimize composing your code by the keyboard. We have these wonderful programming environments. Those of you that are using VS Code, good for you. When you're on the job and you are applying for a C or C++ job, probably they're going to expect you to use VS Code. I found VS Code uses these things called extensions, and you have to include all these C++ extensions. And for a beginning programming class, which actually CIT 66 is, it was just too much. So you saw on my desktop, I used to use code blocks. Used code blocks for 20 years. It was wonderful, but it was just getting a little long in the tooth, so to speak. So I retired code blocks, went to VS Code, and it was too much for my beginning programming students to get running, right? Just to get their environment running. So C was a much easier IDE to set up. So anyway, let me just finish this. I'm going to sum 2 and 3. There we go. And then see out that. So whenever you code something, before you run it, ask yourself as a programmer, what am I going to see? So I'm going to see hello world. I would like to have a couple of blank lines after that, and because I like the backslash ends, the backslash is called inside a string, which starts with a double quote and ends in a double quote. This right here is a literal string, or a user-defined, programmer-defined string. I have defined this, right? And how did I create a string? Really easy. I just start with a double quote and end in a double quote. I can use these special characters, a backslash n. This is called an escape sequence, and this will give me a new line. Endl, this is a reserved word in C++. This will give me line feed carriage return, a new line as well. Anyway, so I expect to see hello world, and then I expect to see 2 blank lines, and then 5. This is my output area here, right? So C out, this means console out. This is my output console right here. So I should see, actually I should see 2 blank lines before hello world, then a 5, and then 2 blank lines. All right, so hit my run. This compile links and runs. Ta-da! Hello world. Looks like I had a space in there. That's fine. But here's this 5. I wanted to, I could do this. See out. Make a string. Make some more lines. End my statement with the semicolon. Okay, this is all the coding I want you to do. I mean, for the first module. You guys can code whatever you want, but I want you to keep it simple. If you want to go to W3 Schools and look at it, but I don't want you just to watch YouTube videos and say, hey Dennis, I watched 10 hours of YouTube videos and can't code a thing. I get it. You've gotten good at watching YouTube videos, but you really do need to apply this. And then you don't have to memorize everything. Matter of fact, you can use Copilot or ChatGPT or similar AI, and these AIs are literally wonderful, wonderful programmers. They don't get everything right. That's what I found out. So you have to be a smart enough programmer to know that the output that you're getting from your AI coding assistant is correct and that your code is readable, and then you can use that. So we'll have some experimental AI bots that we can use this semester. And other than that, I'm going to conclude this video, and hopefully I answered your questions on IDEs. Here's little code blocks. You know, if all else fails, and for licensing agreements, you cannot run CLion, and VS Code is too daunting, just run code blocks. You can find it, and code blocks will work. I will tell you, like I say, it's just a little dated. It just is not a modern IDE, but certainly you could get through this class with code blocks. I mean, like I say, I've done it for about 20 years, so it was fine. Eclipse works. That's fine. I was going to tell you a quick personal story about how tough I had it when I was in graduate school. I'll just tell you, when I was in graduate school getting my computer science degree, there were no IDEs, and there wasn't C++. The language that I learned to program on, I did have Pascal, as I think was my first real language class, but it was C. There was no C++, and we had to write everything in like a text editor. I did not use punch cards. No, I'm not that old, but anyway, did not have any wonderful IDEs. Had to run it as a text. I would do things just in a like Notepad or something, equivalent of Notepad. Then I would save it, and then I would run it through my compiler. I would get an object module, then I would have to link that object module all on the command line, and then I would get some output. So fortunately, I mean, this was 100 years ago, right? So we're a long ways away from that, and those of you that have been coding a long time, I think you'll appreciate the modern IDEs that we have. All right, I don't want this um, video to go on forever. It's already gone on for 20 minutes, but again, you guys are off to a great start, and don't let your find an IDE that suits you. You can use code blocks, you can use C Line, you can use VS Code, but also I forget who I mentioned to in their intro. If you have like a deep freeze utility, or if you just have a computer that has that will just start your start every time you log in, start your session, your programming session with a clean slate, you can download the 30-day trial version of C Line. This is what I had to do, or this is what I have to do when I have CIT 66 in a face-to-face class. And the computers, yeah, I could bring my laptop in or something like that, but I just choose to use the teacher station, and I have to install it, and I do install the 30-day trial of C Line, every single time. And then if I'm working on code that has spanned, more than one class session, I just go to my remote repository in GitHub that you all have, and you will have when you open up the GitHub Classroom that I have set up for you. And anyway, you just download your source code from that. All right. So main thing of this video was just to say hello. Hello. I'm happy you're here. You guys are off to a great start. I know that you're all smart. You're all engineering majors, or most of you are. It's wonderful. I hope you get something out of this class. 3 things to watch out for that trip up my C++ students are probably in this order: pointers, parameter association, and scope. So we'll get through those together. All right, paka paka.